don't know about the rest of you, but I am absolutely ecstatic about the new Pokemon XY coming out. And yes, I'm a 26-year-old male who's married, so haha, none of you can go ahead and go, oh, forever alone, virgin, neckbeard, whatever, so on insults. Haha. But I'm actually excited for Pokemon. I've actually been playing ever since I was a little kid, and still probably going to continue to play on, because you know they're just going to keep coming out with newer iterations probably like every couple of years, because it's Nintendo's golden goose. But the reason why a lot of people flock to it is because, well, it's appealing to children, but at the same time, it's great for just about any age or audience, because even these stories from the very beginning touched on a lot of more mature subjects than a lot of people tend to realize just at face value. Like they even talk about the subject of death, and or at least Pokemon death, not so much people death, in the first game, which was kind of dark for a kids game, because that's not something that's really talked about in kids shows or anything else like that. It's a harsh subject to try and discuss with a child, the whole subject of death and what's permanent like that. Even the news version of Pokemon, Pokemon XY, or not XY, I'm sorry, that's the new game coming out, but Black and White, or Black and White 2, there's the whole storyline that was kind of just like taking on the concept of what a Pokemon is to a trainer, whether it be a companion, not in that way, like as far as like a best friend, a pet, which a lot of people consider pets companions anyways, or just simply just a tool that's a means to an end. And you're going against an organization that was more or less like PETA, even to some even further extremes, to which the main character N was, well, never mind, that's kind of more of a spoiler. Anyways, point is, there's more depth to the story than a lot of people tend to realize, and I'm kind of rambling on. I need to get to the new stuff, the good stuff. It's finally going to be 3D, which is just something I'm absolutely ecstatic about. Don't get me wrong, I love the whole sprite style. It was a lot of fun for a long time, but now that we have newer tech that's capable of doing more, it's about time we get an absolute 3D realm to roam in, on top of actually having 3D battles, 3D Pokemon, 3D everything on a 3DS. So absolutely ecstatic for that. Not only that, you have the new legendaries that they showed off. Still not exactly sure what the types are, but they even look pretty interesting. They even came out with a newer version of what a lot of people are saying is Mewtwo. Some people are calling it Mew 3, a lot of people have different theories. Either way, it's still just going to be a newer version of something that we all remember from the original 151. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, it's ha ha ha, they went from doing gemstones and, you know, colors to letters, they must be running out of ideas. Well, yeah, I guess you could kind of say that. But the reason why they went Pokemon in X and Y, it had to do something more along the lines of DNA and, you know, chromosomes, and it's going to be, I guess, more explained in the story versus to where the other times the colors were simply just the matter of colors. So there's supposed to be more meaning behind it, but we'll see. The design of the legendaries look pretty cool, and with each new Pokemon, of course, the new generations come out with new Pokemon as well. Not as many this time around. Apparently there's only going to be 50 new Pokemon. And the designs, I mean, are hit and miss. It's really about the same that you'd get every time a new generation of Pokemon comes out. There's going to be some that you're going to like, some that you're not. It's, I guess at this point, pretty hard to just keep coming up with them. I think they're getting close to the 700s, or they might even pass 700s at this point. I don't even remember how many there are anymore. But there is going to be a 666 Pokemon, so a lot of people are interested in seeing what that's going to be, because that is supposed to be the whole 666 mark of the beast. So a lot of people think it's supposed to be some demonic-looking evil creature, but I'm gonna laugh my ass off if it's going to be some like cutesy little fairy type, which is also something new that's going to be in Pokemon XY is fairy type. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. Light, to me, would have been the logical choice if they're going to go for a new type, because they would have been able to fight Dark and a few other types. But the whole point of Fairy type as an introduction is supposed to be able to completely just raffle stomp on Dragon type. And I don't know if there's anybody else who's watching this video who thinks, how the hell is a fairy going to kick the crap out of a dragon? It just doesn't make much sense, but that's what they decided to go with. On top of that, the way you travel is going to be a little bit different. You still have the standard means of, you know, surf, fly, and so on. But now, I haven't seen anything as far as bikes are concerned. As far as you run, I think it's what they've shown is rollerblades. I'm not sure if rollerblades is gonna replace the bike, or it actually might be the fact that they had one Pokemon that you're actually riding on, which is still rumored to where you can ride on other Pokemon. But I believe the name of it's a Gogoat, and you see different clips and even some videos of you riding on it, and that's one other way of you moving around. That might actually be what replaces the bike, but they're still not sure if your other certain Pokemon in your party you could ride as well. Who knows? Not only that, they also have the introduction of this weird little system to where you can go ahead and feed and pet, and the video was kind of inappropriate looking petting at one point, your Pokemon, I guess, to make them happier. So there's a few little gimmicks that kind of add in there, I guess, to try and keep it fresh. There's other neat little things, like when you're going out in the open, sometimes you'll run into a horde of Pokemon. So you'll have anywhere between what they're saying is 4 to 5 Pokemon that randomly appear that you can kind of just battle in the wild or even just try to catch, which is going to be a little hectic, but probably a lot of fun, and depending on the level of the Pokemon you're going against and what level you are, can be quite a challenge. There's also the inclusion of what they're saying is going to be air battles, which in order to participate in air battles, you're more likely going to need at least quite a few different flying Pokemon, otherwise it's just not going to work out very well. If I try to summon my Snorlax, he'd drop like a rock, probably cause a huge crater the second he hits ground. But the one thing, just like mind-blowing that they've decided to do, and I think everybody's been waiting for this, or at least since the whole concept of Pokemon Battle Revolution, which I know a lot of people think it's a terrible game, and I can agree to them to some extent, but the one feature from it, character customization. Now, as it stands right now, there's only going to be 3 different skin colors to choose from and 3 different hair colors. Now, whether or not you can interchange between those 3 and 3, or if it's just said as, okay, you have, you know, this skin color with this hair, this skin color with this hair, and this skin color with this hair, they haven't really revealed. Unfortunately, it looks like it's probably just going to be skin color to a specific kind of hair. Obviously, I'm going to be going with the white guy with the brown black hair because I am a white guy with dirty blonde hair, which is close enough to brown or even black. So, yeah. But besides that, I mean, you also, from what they say, you have a plethora of different clothing options to choose from. Because I'm not really liking the whole hat with the sunglasses on top deal. So, hopefully, besides the normal clothes, I can go ahead and change what's on my head, or probably just not even wear a hat at all if I have any say in the matter. And I'm also all for that, because as I said many times in many different games, I'm a huge sucker for character customization. That's something I'm big on. It's something a lot of people have been wanting in their Pokemon games, and now they're finally going to be getting it. There's also the rumor of co-op. A lot of people aren't exactly sure how that's going to work. If anything, it's probably going to be just one person who can kind of jump into your world, similar to what's been attempted in Pokemon Black and White. But instead of them just being a random NPC looking person and just going hey and trading things, or even just going to certain areas at the different Pokemon centers to battle that way, they're talking about just absolute open world possibility of one person jumping in and joining you on your adventures for at least a certain period of time, which would be awesome. That's also another thing a lot of people have been really looking forward to. Unfortunately, we are never going to get that Pokemon MMO, because if it ever does get released, similar to what Dorkly already made fun of, the whole world would just shut down. Because, well, not the whole world, but the majority of the world would just shut down. Because everybody would just be playing the Pokemon MMO. Nobody would want to ever work. Nobody would ever want to do anything. It'd be the end of days. The only thing that could save us would be Gaben with Team Fortress 3, Half-Life 3, just any version of 3, except for instead all he'll give us is more hats in Team Fortress 2. And everybody will still be stuck playing Pokemon. I plan on sticking to my team as a big fan of Pokemon, as I probably already point out at this point. I kind of like the way I have it set up right now. I've done a combination of a little bit of research as far as what's good for certain types, and I kind of wanted a well-rounded group altogether. It's not really much of a theme, except for the fact, looking at my party, I actually kind of realized I'm more or less like Red, I guess from the manga, instead of like Ash from the anime, because I have 3 of my Pokemon are starters, not all from the same generation, but I have Infernape, I have Sceptile, and I have Samurott. All 3 of them are starters of the 3 different elements. You have fire, water, and grass type. I have a Snorlax because Snorlax is my favorite Pokemon. I'll kind of go a little over that in a minute. A Raichu because he, I mean, it was either that or it's going to be the electric eel one that I forget the name of it. But I wasn't a big fan of the design, and you know, Pikachu's iconic, but I always liked Raichu more, so of course I had to go with Raichu. And then Hydreigon because Ghidorah. Just Ghidorah. If you don't get that reference, it's Godzilla. I absolutely love Godzilla too. So seeing that, I'm like, it's got to be the name. It's got to be a part of my team. It's happening. My team consists of those Pokemon I just mentioned, but just kind of to give a little more detail, even just like the names and certain things like that. The one I usually throw out more than anything is my Snorlax, because again, Snorlax is my absolute favorite. Because Snorlax and I have a lot in common. We love to sleep, we're both fat but lovable, and despite our looks, we can kick ass. And that's why my Snorlax is generally named Auntie, because I go by a few different, like besides Anthony, some people call me Ant, and quite a few friends, most of them tend to be females, will sometimes call me Auntie. So I'm just like, whatever, we'll just go with that one. Sounds funny enough, and thus why the Snorlax is called Auntie. And the way I kind of have his moveset is because he's more of a physical striker. To a certain degree, his emphasis more is on, you know, defense and special defense, and pretty high HP, but he's also a good physical striker. So of course Giga Impact, because he's huge. I mean, that's... You think Giga Impact, you just see like Snorlax launching himself in the air, coming down like a meteor, and they're just like, oh, well, shit. You also have Ice Beam, kind of just to throw an enemy off guard. It's like nobody really expects it, but the cool thing about normal types is they can learn God knows how many different kinds of moves. So you have Ice Beam as kind of a special attack. Zen Headbutt, because I like to have at least one move for each type of my Pokemon that goes against, it's actually powerful against what they're weak against. So considering that fighting is super effective against normal, kind of is a big FU, went ahead and put Zen Headbutt in there, which is a physical psychic attack to try and deal with any kind of fighting Pokemon to be going against, even though they probably would have more speed than the Snorlax would. Earthquake, also a great sweeper as far as a physical strike is concerned, especially when you're going against multiple enemies. And that's kind of why I have that whole setup with Auntie and Snorlax, who's the absolute best Pokemon ever. Favorite Pokemon, yeah. Then I have my Raichu, which is known as Galvan, because Galvanize. I'm so witty with my names and the creation of these things. Of course, Thunderbolt. I mean, most electric types, not all, put more emphasis on the special attack. So Thunderbolt is a staple of electric type Pokemon. Some people like to go with Thunder. I kind of like the consistency and power of Thunderbolt. For some reason, I tend to be really unlucky with Thunder to where it most of the time misses, and then I just get really pissed off, and then something bad happens, I get more pissed off. Iron Tail, again, just something to kind of throw out there in case I'm going against rock type or anything like that. Something to be like, haha, I think you got me, but got you instead. Grass Knot, something a little bit different. Again, most of the rock types I'd probably be going against. Like, I've seen quite a few Onyx. Wouldn't be very effective against Steelix, but the fact that Grass Knot kind of trips up, and the bigger they are, the harder they fall, that's helpful. Plus, just Grass Knot's grass type anyways, which is a good thing to have. Which Brick Break as well is the other move that's used, and it's also great against rock type. So, like I said, I'd like to keep a bunch of different moves kind of going, few special, few physical, just to keep it well-rounded. Then I have Wukong, my Infernape, because I'm pretty sure nobody's ever made that reference at all. Of course, Brick Break, and again, close combat. I like the idea of it because it goes in there and it's usually just a bam, 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 done. But to me, it's just like I don't want to take the chance with the negative impact that move has, so I'd rather just go with other different kinds of fighting style moves. So I have Brick Break for the fighting type attack. It's physical. Also a major physical striker on my team. A Flamethrower for special attack. Another staple of fire type Pokemon. A Shadow Claw, just a nice little ghost type in case I'm going against Psychic. Something that's going to take them out. And of course, since Infernape is fire, might be going against water types, it will happen. have kind of Thunder Punch to try and deal with them as well. I have Bloom, the only female Pokemon on my team, which is a Sceptile, which I have set up with an Energy Ball, a really good special grass type attack. Rock Slide, a good rock style physical attack to try and take on any bug types I'd be going against. X Scissor, a nice bug physical attack it can learn, and then I managed to even teach it Dragon Pulse, which is a really good dragon special attack to kind of just throw in there, and it does pretty good damage, I mean, just overall. Tempest is my Samurott that I have, and the way I have it set up is more of a special attacker than a physical attacker, but has a decent amount of physical attack stats as well. Have it set up for Mega Horn, which is a good bug physical attack, Ice Beam for an ice special attack, Surf for water special, because at least in my opinion, and also looking at the stats, Surf is probably one of the better water moves out there to have. And it's also good for traveling, of course. And Air Slash, which is a really good flying special attack to have. And that was kind of tricky to get into. I think that was actually had to be taught through breeding, so that was a lot of fun trying to get that going. Last but not least, Ghidorah, which again is, like I said, the Godzilla reference, three-headed dragon of badassery, which I kind of feel bad because a lot of people say it's a pseudo-legendary because it's quite powerful, but it's not a legendary, but it's still overpowered in comparison to most Pokemon, and I agree, but I just, again, because of the Godzilla reference and just the style of it, I really liked it, so I really felt like it had to be a part of my team. And the fact that it has Levitate does not, you know, hurt its chances either. The way I have its moveset set up is Dragon Pulse. Again, this is another one of my Pokemon that was kind of just as good in special attack as it was a physical, but I still have more special attacks on this one because I don't have as many special strikers as I do physical strikers in this group. So Dragon Pulse for the Dragon special attack, Crunch as a dark physical attack, Flash Cannon as a steel special attack, which some people are surprised by that, but it's actually worked out pretty well for me so far. And of course, Earth Power, which is a very good ground special attack. It's actually, from what a lot of people would say, is the special attack version of Earthquake. It's definitely a great way to take out a lot of different enemies that way. And that's my team overall, and I'm going to try and import them one way or another into XY and still kind of continue on with that team. Because it's little things have changed here and there, but the main concept of the starters, so that way I have the three elements, and then having Snorlax, and then having Raichu, has kind of been there from the beginning. The starters kind of swapped out with each new generation. It might even swap out with some of the new starter Pokemons, who knows. Ghidorah more likely is going to stay on there as well. But no matter what, the one constant, or two constants so far, would be Raichu and Snorlax. Just because Raichu is a pretty good electric type. Probably one of my favorite Pokemon. But my absolute favorite again is Snorlax, because Snorlax is a badass. It'll always be that way. So I appreciate you watching, hear me rambling on so much about Pokemon for nearly, I think at least here before editing says about 20 minutes. And let me know what you think. Are you excited for the new Pokemon? What are you excited for? What's your favorite Pokemon? Just share any kind of stories you'd like to in the comments below. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and feel free to check out some other ones I have available. If you're not already subscribed, do so, or even just like it. And until next time.